Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors. I had the 6 Cup car this week, and I truck raced again, but I had the 42 this week. So
you did? Why'd you have the 42?
Yeah. They wanted to make an in-house switch.
Who was the 42? Oh, that was Mills.
Yeah, it's Matt and me and Tab just.
I felt
trucks.
bad for Matt because that's his best racetrack, and
yeah, we were actually pretty fast too. He was doing a really good job. So.
Brett Griffin, I didn't spot this weekend. I'm just surprised that TJ got to come back because he always makes fun of Dale Jr. download stealing our people, and now he's cheating on us.
I've seen him over there a couple of times.
They must need a ratings boost.
Listen, that's what I told him. I said I'm only coming over here to boost your ratings,
trying to help out.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace and Ty Dillon this week. Hi, Casey.
Hello, Casey Boat here. Still
Casey,
here.
If
Still
you have the baby during this show, you have to name it after one of us.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, if your water breaks, we get to name the baby.
What would be the better girl name? Brett, TJ, or Freddie?
Definitely Freddie.
I don't even.
Frederica.
This is all.
Yes, Freddie. That is the winner.
The last show I did, I think they were talking about Brett being a driver's wife or something.
Yep, pretty much.
We're getting right back to that.
Yeah,
we are almost there again.
Brett, congratulations on your team winning this week.
My team?
I'm sure you guys are. Yeah, RCR, don't you work for them?
Oh yeah, I was pumped up, man. I was what a great finish.
Well, yeah. I mean, no controversy whatsoever.
Nope.
There may be someone in my house that's not a LaJoie Logano fan. Probably not to the extent that TJ is not a Joey Logano fan, but certainly not. And this person was jumping up and down, going, wreck him, spit him out. And I'm like, I literally said he can't catch him. Like, that's the problem.
Oh, you were wrong.
I don't think he can catch him.
Yeah.
And so when he caught him, I was like, whoa.
Well, he didn't really catch him.
He caught him.
He just meant to rattle his cage.
Right.
He iRacing caught him is what he did.
I thought you were going to say Roy was the Joey, not the Joey, but once you said jumping around, I was pretty sure it wasn't Roy.
Yeah, touche.
When dog treat Dave.
So I'm curious from y'all's perspective, because y'all are in the middle of spotting your race in your car. Did you see it happen live?
Oh, it was 2 cars in front of me. Yeah, so I got to see it pretty live. And of course, it had a great deal of effect on our season. So, Bubba, we were running, like before this, probably rewind 10, 15 laps. Tyler's got worn out tires. He's running 4th, Reddick. And Bubba's running 5th. And I don't know I didn't tell Bubba. We were having a good day, and the 3's going to win. And I'm not trying to, just let's get to the end. I'll give you the bad news when it's over. If he hasn't already seen the scoreboard, he doesn't. I don't know if he knows who's leading. So Reddick goes up one time and brushes the wall, and Bubba's like, will you tell him to knock it off, because they're trying to throw a caution. Like, don't give him any excuse to throw yellow. We got a big gap on 6. Like, we're good. Like, get through this. And I'm at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I guess for us it's good, but we also really don't need that 3 to win, so I'm not going to hate a caution. So when the yellow come out, I told him, I said, well, bad news for us is now we're going to have a restart. Good news is the 3 was going to win. And he's like, oh, that's a good caution. So because that's all you're worried about at this point is now you don't need a new winner. So I see the 22 beat him on the restart, and I'm like, oh, yeah. And to your point, he kind of gets away a little bit down the backstretch, and I'm like, man, he's going to have to do something really crazy here if he's going to get him. And he did. So
So
he
that.
did. He did. It was fun. Like, I glanced because we had like 30 cars between us at that point. We restarted 32nd because we waved around right there. I looked on the back, and I'm like, oh, he's not close enough to even really do anything.
you was wrong.
I was wrong. I was way wrong.
So, Freddie, where were you before all this happened? Because you gained a few spots, right?
No, we were running 5th that whole 3rd stage, basically 5th or 6th, and we were going to finish there. I was really going to be. I knew even with the 3 winning, I knew we did enough to jump the other 2 guys we've been chasing and made up a lot of ground on Ty Gibbs. So that's all you control. Like on my mind, we're controlling everything we can control. If we go out and perform good enough, we can maybe, we jump these 2 guys. We can jump the 54.
You were in front of the cars that you were supposed to be in front of.
Yeah, we're doing everything we have to do. If somebody else goes out and wins, and at that point, the 3 deserved to win. I mean, he ran a great race all night long. He drove by Denny for the lead. They were
past Joey.
Yeah, they were
and past Denny.
They were really good, and they deserved to win. And then he unfortunately, pit crew had a great pit stop, gets him out, because when they came down pit road, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be in trouble because Denny's got pit stall number 1. I think he must have. He
had
a
a
gap.
big
I figured he
gap.
had a big gap.
Yes.
So because when I seen him come off, I'm like, man, he beat him off. They've also had a great pit stop, I'm sure. But so I see he's got the lead now. I'm like, damn, now he's the control car still gonna be hard to beat him. Then I see off of 2, Joey's got the lead, and I'm like, yeah, go Joey. I've never been a bigger Joey Logano fan in my life. And then we go down the backstretch, and I'm like, holy. Like I see him driving, you see like where he's all right in front of me, so you can see he just bombs it into 3, way deeper than anybody else in this crowd. Drives in there, I'm like, oh, he's gonna wreck the 22. So he wrecks 22. 11's going by him. I'm like, he's gonna wreck the 11.
Should the 22 wrecking in front of the field with all of the smoke have brought out a caution?
It did.
Just late.
It did not at time of caution.
It took
did not at
longer.
the time he spun.
It not at the. I mean, they threw it. I mean, it was pretty bang bang. He spins in the middle of 3 and 4. The yellow's out, probably just past the restart zone. So it's
pretty quick.
It's pretty quick. We're not quick enough for Denny, unfortunately. Which that would have been amazing if Denny would have got hooked in the fence and won the race. Because
Oh man.
Who are the 2 biggest heels in our sport right now?
those 2.
How is anybody upset?
That's what I.
If you're a Denny Hamlin fan, I get it. If you're a Joey Logano fan, I get it. But the 3 biggest heels in our sport were Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. Kyle Busch has gone somewhat quiet.
I think my guy might be.
Yeah, your guy can creep in there. But your guy also, it's either a love or hate, Bubba, and I think it's literally 50-50. I think 80% of the people dislike Joey Logano and or Denny Hamlin.
They probably
Because
still
you
have the
know
highest
why?
views.
They're arrogant holes. They wreck a lot of people to win. How many times has Denny used people up to win?
Never.
How many times has Joey Logano used people up to win?
I mean, they're probably close to each other, and the tally's probably pretty close.
And listen, I like both these guys personally. They're both good dudes. I've taken up for Denny on here numerous times. But he wrecked the 2 biggest holes in the sport.
That's what
But
I was.
look who's talking.
I was
of
thinking
all
about that
people.
last night, like heading to the airport. I was like, could you imagine if that was Chase Elliott? Like if either one of them, like Joey, if Joey was there, or like, you know,
Yeah.
they about burned Martinsville down.
Yeah,
when
just
Denny
imagine
did
if it had been Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney, 2 of the most loved guys in the garage. Then I get it. But I think that if you're going to be mad at anybody here, you have to be mad at NASCAR. The rule is win and you're in. Austin Dillon is 32nd in points. He hasn't won in 2 years. People are talking about he should quit.
Yeah.
He's going
What
to
were you
win the
saying before
race
this?
until Ricky Stenhouse and Ryan Preece do something stupid for 50th place.
They weren't
with
even
2
racing.
laps to
They weren't
go.
even racing each other. So
It makes it even dumber. But I mean, like, you have a 3-second lead when that happens, and the caution comes out. Like you said, pit crew does their job. Everything goes on. You come out, you get your butt kicked on the restart. He got smoked on the restart. He got his ass kicked, and then he had a Hail Mary, and guess what? He threw it. Now, I don't know what happens from here. I think the win stays no matter what.
Yeah.
They're not taking the win away.
No.
I could see a fine, and I could potentially see some points, but who cares?
exactly, like to your point, the only thing that was at stake last night for him was his reputation. And why does he give? He's like you said, I think on Twitter, he's in the playoffs. He's in the All-Star race. You just bumped yourself up to
16th in points.
16th in points at worst. From
And by the way, that's a lot of money.
yeah, this is, you have to do this. You have to do this for your guys. You have to do this for,
Your sponsors.
your sponsors, whatever it is. But, to your point, this is where NASCAR, you heard Elton come out and say, well, this is awfully close to the line. Well, if that ain't crossing the line, I don't really know what's ever going to cross
Hey,
it.
listen, if anybody knows about crossing the line, it's me
Yeah.
from Indy, okay? And you, but you didn't get busted for it. Man, he's honestly more relevant now because of these moves than he would have been if he had won the race. Just straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he had to do something.
If NASCAR truly wants to set, they don't have many options. They have a few options they can go. Obviously, it's they can come back and fine him, and who cares? They can do nothing, which there's going to be something, I think.
No matter what they do, I
It doesn't
promise
matter.
you, it doesn't matter.
But this is my point.
Yep.
Point. So if you want to set a precedent, you have to make it hurt in the playoffs, and by either he right reared somebody. We've seen suspensions for that.
But I don't know. I hear you. Contact was made, but how much did he really right rear?
Oh, he right reared him. He hooked the hard.
Yeah.
He hooked the hard
He
left.
He is coming down the track, turning left, trying to hit him. And
Yeah.
people were like, "Well, Denny came up." Well, that's the natural flow of the corner. Just for
TJ
the
knows because he's looked on SMT.
for the
about
Einsteins
20
out there,
times.
when you hit the throttle in turn 4, it's supposed to carry you up the racetrack, not down the racetrack.
But if you're going slow enough, you can turn down.
And you're trying to stop a guy from passing you, you're going to turn
Just
down.
hook
Well,
up as
you got
well.
to side draft them to slow them down.
Yeah, you're side drafting there with buzzing the tires to the start finish
The
line.
only thing, there's two options you can do to make this hurt, to deter people from wanting to do this in the future. One of them is if, right rearing somebody, you suspend them and don't give them a waiver. Very, very unlikely either one of those things happens, I think.
That's not happening.
The other thing is give them a heavy playoff point fine. Congratulations, you're in the playoffs, but here's the 100-point fine. You're not going anywhere in the playoffs.
But you're not in the playoffs yet.
Oh, you're in the playoffs. You win and you're locked in.
Yeah, but
now.
you're not in the playoffs when this happened.
Like it didn't.
I'm
start.
saying
It happened in regular
I'm
season.
saying to deter that
He's
you're
saying wait
doing
to the
this.
playoffs.
You're doing this because you want to get in the playoffs. Well, congratulations, you're in the playoffs. That's as far as you're going. Is the first. You're trying to deter people from doing this.
What happens if they win in the first round of playoffs?
Then they're in. That's good. For that,
I don't agree with giving. I don't agree
Yeah, I
with
don't-
taking something away.
you have to make this to where people don't want to do this.
Scott Miller stood in front of everybody and said, "We're in the entertainment business." When something stupid happened in our sport a few years ago, I don't even remember what it was, but I remember it was stupid. And they stood on the hill then and said, "We're in the entertainment business." That was the most entertaining last lap in NASCAR history in terms of somebody being beat and coming back and winning the race.
It can't happen. I'm sorry.
What if you just take the, all right, the win, like you get the trophy, you get the money and all that, but if you're going to win like that, we're not counting it as a playoff eligible win.
That's ludicrous.
So, Brett, what would you do?
I mean, that would stop you from doing it like that, winning like that.
How do you stop it?
What rule did he break?
Reckless driving that the penalty days gave out 3 weeks ago.
That's discretionary.
Okay.
I think there's two guys that hit the wall that would say they agree with that.
It's to the point where the thing that I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but I just think you can't let this happen. It's one thing I would actually, and I'll go as far as saying this: if what happened, and I hate it's Denny that this happened to because has nothing to do with Denny Hamlin, but if he goes in there and dumps the 22 and continues on and wins the race, I think we've seen that 1,000 times, and that's okay. I think the fact that he went in there, dumped the 22, came from 3 car lengths back, dumped the 22, then was going to lose to the 11, so he right hooks the 11. This looked like video game. There used to be this. I remember,
But if he doesn't have the incident with Denny, he wrecked his 22 for nothing.
for nothing. Oh, I know.
So at that point, you're already committed.
This is I remember back in the day there used to be a challenge on one of the video games.
There's a disease out there called itis, and once it flares up, it's really bad. You can't let it flare up over Denny. You got to finish the deal.
Well, listen, he did, but there should be a penalty for it. You can't race like this. This is not the way we're supposed to do it.
It's winning, you're in.
Yeah,
I'll make a bet with you.
I agree.
So,
I
okay,
guarantee.
so-
So here's the bigger thing, right? We're all upset right now, whether we're upset for it or upset against. What are you going to do when this happens in Phoenix?
Yeah, exactly. What?
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Somebody's going to win a championship.
The thing that, yeah, exactly right. And the thing that people don't realize, they Austin Dillon, this, that. Who remembers? Anybody remember that Ryan Newman did this to Kyle Larson?
I remember.
Nobody gives
did it to Ryan Newman.
nothing.
What's the difference?
The difference is this was. I feel like this was more egregious. This is one of the most egregious things I've seen in a long time.
It's definitely.
I said last night on the radio because all of a sudden they said the finish is under review, and I don't think it had anything to do with Austin. I think it was the
positioning
checking
of the cars.
caution.
I think so too.
But I said to Booty's like, oh, they're reviewing it, and I go, well, if they're ever going to do something, this would be the night that they would do it.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do anything.
I just don't know. I don't know what you do because no matter what they do, we're probably not going to agree with it.
Well,
because
there's
They're
no
probably going to put Jeff Gordon in the playoffs.
I just love.
thanks to you.
I love the fact. Yeah, that's true.
Richmond seems to cause us
Yeah,
a lot
see,
of.
I just love the fact that poor Elton. I seen when they said Elton's coming out to make a statement. I'm like, whatever he says, he's getting
Did
torn up.
he talk to everybody this time, or
No,
just one person?
I think he talked. I think he was taking
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
He's right. I mean, it's right on the line, but
What do you mean
really?
it's right on the line? Where is the line?
That's what I'm
what's
saying,
worse
though.
than
Like,
that? What, are you
it
going to
is-
shoot somebody?
But what do you do though? You know what I mean? Like,
I just it's awfully close to the line.
What did you want Elton to say?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. When he was going, when I seen the tweet that he's coming out, I'm like, what's he going to say? Like, and you come out and say it's awfully close to the line. Well, where's the line? We got to flip the guy over? Like, I don't know.
Well, which line are you talking about? Because there's two of them at Indy that you got to.
So, Brett, you would do nothing.
I don't have to make a decision on what I would do.
If you were,
He can't say
if
he
you had
works
to
there.
make the decision, what would you do?
Well, okay.
No, we need words here, Brett. We don't mumble here. Come
I
on.
don't know where he broke a rule.
More Denny than Joey.
But still, there's no rule
They've
against.
showed.
I don't see a rule that he broke,
They have showed in the past that's a suspensionable penalty.
but not when the guy won the race.
It's a right hook. There's no situation. It's a right
Luckily,
hook.
Denny was
Under
a phenomenal
green.
driver and got his car straightened out before he
Under
hit the
green.
top.
Denny didn't go head on. He went right side in.
He hit with the nose.
It looked like it hurt still. I mean,
It
it was-
100%
he
looked like
was
it
out of
hurt.
breath when he tried to answer
It
them.
100% looked like I hurt. I mean, it was a hard hit. As hard as you could probably hit there.
Yes.
Getting off the corner, not getting into one. But this is exactly what NASCAR wanted when they created Win and You're In. And you can hate Bo McGray as much as you want to hate it. That's the style of racing that we saw on the last lap.
I don't. I don't think many of the other drivers make this move. I don't think many of the other drivers make the move, wreck two guys like that.
You
I
don't think they got the balls to make the move?
I think this is things building up with Austin. He's been under a lot of pressure lately and been under the spotlight quite a bit for not performing. And this was his opportunity, and he wasn't going to miss it. I don't think Bubba goes in there and wrecks Joey, and I don't think
He said it on his interview. He said,
think I might-
you know,
I don't think he would. I mean,
No, I don't think so either.
there's very few
I
guys.
wish he would probably.
There's very few guys. I think there's 4 or 5, the younger guys that might go in there, but I think all the guys that have been here for a handful of years aren't going to race like that.
I think ethically he has to live with it.
He ain't going to care about that.
And if
Why
you
would
don't,
he?
if you don't care about that, then who gives a
He's still got one guy mad from the Daytona 500. I mean, we could get Joel on here and he'll tell you what he thinks.
Oh, Joel's still upset. Eric Amarole's still upset. I mean, how many wins he got? 5 in his career?
Yeah, something like that, 4 or 5, I would say.
I mean, that was a desperation move that worked. I'm not saying ethically that it's the right move, but legally, I don't see a rule against it.
No, there's-
because what you're saying is illegal about it is 100% discretionary.
Oh yeah, there's no cut and dry rule. There's not like the line TJ crossed at Indy. There's no
Yeah.
cut and dry
Well,
rule.
that's majority of this table.
But it's just. Well, I'll get into it more when we get to spots.
Well, when you look at this as an owner, all right, because who has power in the garage? NASCAR and owners. When you look at this as an owner, what do you do to go to NASCAR to ask them to fix this?
I don't know. I saw Denny and Gapehart come out, and Denny said they had a conversation. He wasn't going to really elaborate on what it was, but I just think
That means he got told tough. Austin won the race.
I think
I'm sure
that-
we'll find out on Action Detrimental.
Yeah, I don't. It's just
But if you're the owners group and you go in there and go, we got to fix this, what are you going to do?
the thing. Like the only thing you can do, and nobody's going to like it, is you have to put it in the NASCAR hands of making calls. Like that's what every short track in the country does, except for one, Circus up in Winston-Salem. But anywhere, we just seen this 2 weeks ago at the Car Store race at Hickory. Yeah. The guy goes in there, wipes him out in the last turn, he gets disqualified. It's not hard to do. Like,
should we make a call when they call the owner?
It's now the problem is, we hear about judgment calls, and I hate judgment calls, but like something like that, you watch and go, okay, that's probably a little bit much. You know
but
what
then
I mean?
at the same time, there are things that you've seen on track that seem like they play it more low key than Austin just ping ponging. Like, I feel like that's also subjective, right? Like, you can't have a fine line if part of it is subjective.
Well, I'm saying it's got to be a judgment call in the moment, and like, do we trust them to make that call? Is the problem? Well, you go to I watch Riverhead every week. I watch Bowman Gray. Even Bowman Gray's getting to the point where they're starting to make calls. But the if the short tracks of the world can make this call, why can't the highest form of racing make this call? I don't understand.
Well, we'll talk about this later in the show, but you mentioned playoff implications. Obviously, Freddie, for you being, I think you're 3 above the cut line right now. So knowing Austin has a spot for all intents and purposes. What does that mean for you and others who are on that cut line?
I'll tell you, though, it's bigger than this. Like, Freddie, you know this. When you look at the top 3 in points, you could put a blanket over them. That's for 15 playoff points if you win. When you look at where you're at, you can get into the top 10 in points, which is a playoff point. You also could get kicked out of the playoff with a couple new winners and or a couple bad races. So, man, this may be the best point battle we've seen in this format.
Yeah, for sure. And, like going into it, my mind, we haven't really had any meetings about it or anything like that. But my mind, we were closing in on both Ross and Buescher for the last 2-3 weeks before the playoffs and picked up this week again. And in my mind, we had to get both of them because you got Daytona looming. So, if you get both of them, you got a 1-spot buffer to the cut line. If you get a new winner Daytona, you're good. Was not expecting a new winner at anywhere, Richmond or Michigan or Darlington. So now you get that. So now we've jumped them guys, and now we're just going to have to focus on trying to jump Ty, who's I think 18 points ahead of us, or 15 points ahead of us, and get him to get that buffer back to where we can protect against another new winner. So for us, it's just about going out there and continuing to perform like we have for the last month and a half or so, get the stage points, get the good finishes, and hope them guys continue to, not really struggle. Like Ross finished 5th last night, but we made up a bunch of points on him because we had stage points and he didn't. So, it's just, for us, it's just continue to do what you're doing, control what you can control, and hope it works out for you in the long run.
TJ, if the season ended right now, you'd have 2 playoff points based on being 9th in points.
Well, he'd have.
Well, I mean, plus his win.
Yeah.
But when you look at the importance of the points, this is crazy how tight it is.
Yeah, I mean, I just look back. It frustrates me because I know there was some self-inflicted races that we probably could have. And I look at if we take away a couple of those, we're probably top 5 in the points, and that's after having 2 36th place finishes to start the year. So, but I feel pretty good, about where we're at. We need to keep chipping away at it. But the points, this is probably the closest that I've really seen the top 10 in a while. Yeah. I mean, it's close.
And to your point, like
top 16, it's so many battles.
We go back to those 2 weeks at Talladega and Dover for us, where we get, we're in that Toyota pack and we lost 70 points right there. You give us 70 points, and we're up there with Truex.
We right to Dover.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it is.
Remember when there was a rule you had to be like top 30 in points?
Boy, that would come in handy.
Could you imagine
right
if that had been in place last night? He wouldn't have done it, maybe.
Well, I mean, he would have done it because he's 26th in points now, so he'd have been fine. But but that's where you could, if you still had that rule in place, you could hit him with a 50-point penalty like you gave Custer and them guys a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and now you're out of the top 30, and now you're done. Now you're done. But that rule's gone.
It doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter.
No,
the fine of the money.
If you fine him, give him a regular season points penalty. If you give him whatever, suspend anybody, like you're not. It doesn't matter.
No, the only thing that hurts is in the playoffs, but still, and a guy in his position, when you're 26 in the points, you're like, you still get in the.
You just jumped 10 spots, which is a lot of money.
He saved Ricky Stenhouse from catching absolute hell. Ricky Stenhouse and our Priest, we're going to catch hell for.
Do you think? Can let me ask you?
You can ask.
Do you think? I can't imagine this, but I wish it was the case.
51% chance. The answer is yes.
Do you think Ricky Stenhouse did that on purpose to RCR?
I mean, I don't know.
Because they're not. From what I understand, Ryan and Ricky were not even racing each other for position.
Yeah, I don't.
And Ricky goes in there and basically just runs into him, right? I mean, I don't know that that's the case, but that makes for a great story if it was.
Do you think he was really big braining it that much?
I don't know. You can look up at that. You can look up at that scoreboard to see the threes.
I can tell you,
kind of like that itch that Boyer had at Richmond back in the day.
I can tell you that I have seen people wreck on purpose to bring out a caution.
We know that, Brett.
to bring out a caution to make sure the guy who was going to win didn't win, and at that time.
39 is going to win this race.
No, here's what you don't know. At that time, this was way, long time ago. Like, these guys might have even been teammates, like, because they were mad at each other. So, I mean, y'all know how this is. You could see the pylons. You know what's going on. You got communication. Like, Ricky, I mean.
Dude, if I'm going to go and tell you, man, if that's the case, he's Smart.
That's
Sorry,
I mean,
I didn't mean to
that's-
cuss,
that's
but
big-
that's big brain.
That's
in it
big
here.
brain. Yeah.
First topic, spot on, spot off. Option and prime tires improved racing at Richmond. Freddie.
I can honestly sit here and tell you right now that I don't think I know which one is a soft one and which one is the hard one when you say option and prime. Like, I'd have to think about it for a while. I don't know who came up.
Well, just think about it like she would think about it.
What? Oh, seriously?
Who the hell is she? Casey?
Yeah.
Well, something's prime and something's option.
All right.
Yeah,
So
but
what?
I don't think that's I think it's backwards.
TJ.
What does prime mean, Brett?
Spot on, spot off.
I see prime guy every day at my house. I think he shows up.
No. Yeah.
I told Meg at one point, I said, just tell me you're asleep with this guy and you're not actually buying every day.
I'm so glad Chad doesn't have access to the ring to see them all.
I am spot on for the prime tire, but I think the prime tire should be the prime time tire all the time and get rid of the other,
Which one's prime, hard or soft?
the soft one, Brett.
Oh,
I know
That's
you
not
prefer.
prime.
I know you prefer the
the option.
the option.
So the option is hard.
That's one way to put it.
Typically,
Yes.
yes.
We have to clarify because it's dumber than the way they refer to these things.
Yes.
Just use hard and soft.
Yeah.
Michael Waltrip tweeted it. Kevin Harvick tweeted it. Dale Jr. tweeted it. I'm just reiterating what they said, as nobody knows what that means.
I
Hey,
said, why
remember-
just call them yellow and red? That's the only way you identify them.
I
They're the
feel
yellows
like,
and reds.
I feel
And then
like
say the
they-
yellow's a hard one and the red was a soft one.
What was that word they used that one time that everybody used it in sentences for like the next 6 months? Remember that we were coming up with big words on the shows, trying to make up other stuff
Oh,
too.
it was when you're trying to describe like a
This is
penal-
riveting.
was
Do you
it
remember? You would
Penultimate?
know.
was it
Yeah,
that?
was it that?
No, it was something like
This is
Wasn't that.
riveting podcast content.
But yeah. Anyway, so
Like Nate Ryan in our garage has a very high word IQ. If he doesn't know what the it means, neither does anybody else.
he's the
Well, it's just
He's
it's
the
very
soft
it's
tire.
you have to when you say that, then you have to take time to explain it. Like Dale's point, you should say hard or soft. To my point, you don't know what's hard or soft unless you look at the colors on the sidewall.
Yeah.
So like you have to integrate those two names. Whether it's I've seen Posey had an idea of call them the yellows, hard yellows or soft reds, but the option in prime is like I get it. You want to give them these fancy names that Formula One uses, but like nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. So
well, even for the one soft, medium, and hards.
Yeah.
But I don't
Did it help the race?
yes.
a little bit.
I think it helped the
little
race
bit.
last night because some guys nobody really knew 100% what to do strategy wise. Everybody was like, "Oh, I'm going to save him for the end." Well, then you seen Suarez bolt him on at the beginning of the second stage and drive right to the lead, and you're like, "Oh, well, maybe if this works out." And it was a lap away from working out for him to where he was running towards the back or mid pack, I would say,
Yeah,
and he was
mid-pack.
going to get a top 5 if the yellow doesn't come out for Stenhouse.
right.
So but now people saw what happened and how that plays out, and every time we do something, we just get better at it. So now the crew chiefs know, all right, I have to have a set lane because Suarez went from running top 5 to finishing 21st because he didn't have a red set left for a green white checker. So it's risk versus reward, and a lot of guys, especially if we're talking about using these in the playoffs now at places like Bristol, Martinsville, or Phoenix. You're going to be even less risky with how you want to use them. I know you ended up getting burned a little bit by it seemed like because at the end of one stage you were backing up pretty hard, but I don't know how that netted out.
No, we actually made up ground in there, but we had a set of reds laying still
at the end.
at the end. We
What
ended
are
the
reds?
race. Softs.
Tough.
So, but I don't know why. Like there was so much fall off. Like you're crawling. Like that's what we want. That's what we
That's
need.
exactly right.
And we don't just get rid of the damn hard tire altogether. Like we don't even need it. We don't need a tire that can run 800 laps. We don't need that. Just run the soft tire. Let these guys manage it a little bit. Put the driver back in control of this a little bit, and not just like make him. If you want to go off there and run real hard, you're going to pay the price a little bit if you want. You know what I mean? That's what it should be. The driver should have to have some sort of finesse and control. If you want to risk it, take off and run up there. If you want to like lay back a little bit, like Carl Edwards, them guys used to save tires all the time. The end of the run, here they come. So you got guys that kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's natural.
I liked the idea of it last night. I think it was great, but like Suarez was the perfect example. He was, like I said, a mid-pack car. He was going to run. He drives up to the lead, wasted the set. We're all like, well, he's got one set less
Yeah.
for later. And now, if that plays out right for him, he's going to finish in the top 5. But I think the only reason he made up a lap and a half. He just ran as long as he could on the yellows in the middle stint of stage 3 and made up like a lap and a half to drive there, which is awesome. And then same point, like you're putting on yellows against reds, knowing that I can run longer than this guy, and I'm going to be much better at the end of this run, which is all great. But I think the more we get used to doing it, we're going to end up on the same tires at the same time. There's not going to be as many guys that are willing to take chances and put themselves in a box.
We're
like
taking
Suarez
an
did.
element away from it, in my opinion. And when we have, like, I want to see these guys. I'd rather put it into the driver's hands rather than, okay, when we're going to put these tires on. I want to be able to see the guy manage it and make moves at the end.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to create the good racing. We don't like, and honestly, the racing itself wasn't really any better. Like racing with me and you, the only thing that was different was, are you on the option of the primes because you blow by each other and there's not even a race. You just go by. You're just blowing by them.
Suarez unlapped himself.
So-
They made up a lap and a half.
Unreal. So quick.
What you're saying is, if we were both on the same tire, you couldn't pass.
I think if you're both on the same tire, the soft tire, I think you can hurt it. I think you can go off and get 2-second lead, but in 35 laps or 40 laps or whatever, and I save my stuff, we're going to have a pretty good race because I'm going to be beating your bumper off. And that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see. And you're struggling. You can't get off a 4. You can't get off 2. You're crawling. I'm bumping you in the middle, trying to get by you. That's what we're going to have. That's what I think we would have more.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you that ideally, I think going forward, if you just brought that red tire everywhere, it'd be great. I think it would also be a great show for the fans because you got a lot to watch there when you go, oh, this guy's on the soft tires. He's going to be charging. This guy's on a harder one. He's hoping to come back to him later. But I think, like I said, at some point, you're going to everybody's just going to end up on the same tires at the same time.
Well, I think that Matt Swinderski, who I've had a privilege of working with at College Racing, his nickname Squid, the guy used to work for Elon Musk building rockets. I think he's pretty smart.
So he's like a rocket scientist?
Yeah, obviously. But like when you look at Daniel Suarez, his strategy is to try to win the race. And if he can't, it's to win a stage. Because all that matters to Daniel Suarez is playoff points. He's not going to get high enough in the points battle to get the top 10 points that are given out. So when you look at how do they approach it, they're able to do different things because of where they're at in their season. I think to Freddie's point, if we run Richmond the third race of the year, everybody probably does the same thing. But it being at this point on the schedule in the season, people are going to do different things because they got different agendas.
Yeah, and under what people didn't see also is the same second run of the race. Suarez restarts 16th with the soft tires, and the only other guy that put him on was a 34. He was the free pass, and that saved his race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that put him, that run right there projected him up into the top front. But he had track position after that.
Yeah.
Back on the subject of Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's team radio said, "I don't care how you do it," before he dumped Joey Logano and then wreck him before turning Denny Hamlin. Afterwards, Richard Childress denied anyone from the 3 team telling Dillon to wreck anybody. Spot on, spot off, Brett.
I'd like to phone a friend, Chris Lambert.
Yeah.
So I was actually texting with someone this morning at RCR Management. They didn't hear the radio communication wreck him. So I think that there's a chance Richard didn't hear it as well. But I also know that those guys have got a lot of radios on. They have more radios on than we even have because we wear 3 channels, sometimes 4 channels. So they've got 3 to 4 channels per team, right? So there's a chance Richard didn't hear that. Obviously, I think he later said the spotter did the right thing, right?
So he did a good job.
He said he did a good job.
They won the race.
And they won the race. So this is not – if the radio communication was wreck him, this is not the first time a spotter has ever said wreck somebody. This is not the first time that anybody has ever encouraged anybody to wreck somebody. I'm pretty sure our friend Mr. Boyd encourages his driver every week to wreck somebody. Joel Edmonds.
Hey, it worked.
Joel damn sure did yesterday. Joel Edmonds, who spotted for Greg Biffle for many years and Eric Amarola, I bet he told Eric Amarola to wreck somebody every week because Eric was, level set and Joel is on freaking type A ready to blow the racetrack up mode, right? So
Every week.
This is going to probably get blown way out of proportion. And in reality, how many times when you guys are on the roof, when another spotter comes down there and starts fussing at you for what your driver and your scenario is doing, do y'all say, I'm not driving the car. The spotter can say whatever the hell he wants in any scenario, but he's still not driving the car.
Yeah, I'm spot on for what was it? I don't care how you do it. Like, that's fine. Like, listen, that's just, hey, buddy, it's in your hands.
It's a pep talk.
It's in your hands. You do what you got to do here, whatever you feel you need to do.
Belichick told Brady that many times.
When you say wreck 'em is probably when I'm spot off, because I don't think you need to, like, I've always said it on here before, and we saw this. Remember, I think it was Byron at, like, was it Watkins Glen, where they're like, you better go up there and get him, with Kyle
Chad
Busch.
Canal said you better go wreck him.
And Byron, all he did was end up wrecking his own car, And so I think anytime you try to tell somebody to do something and they're maybe not committed to doing, which I think Austin was committed. I don't think anybody, RC didn't hear him say that because he was yelling wreck him at the top of his lungs probably. But same thing with the crew chief. But, I think, like, to your point, I think this is where they're going to get in trouble is maybe the spotter because, you go back a couple years ago and the 00 or the 41 team,
Yeah,
they tried to, I don't know what the hell they were trying to do. I wish that it was, I can't remember the crew chief's name at this point, but, they're telling him, you got to check up, you got to flat. They're from the pit box, they're telling Cole, you got to check up because they wanted him to stack the lineup to affect the playoffs. And they got hammered. Cole got a $100,000 fine. The crew chief got a $100,000 fine. I think Cole got 50 points taken away. The crew chief got suspended indefinitely for saying that. So if they really, really wanted to crack down on somebody here, the one that shows intent is the spotter saying wreck 'em on the radio. And that's unfortunate. And I mean, it's all heat of the moment. And I could tell walking by Brandon on the roof afterwards that it probably wasn't his proudest moment of his racing career, which one thing that really drove me crazy about the radio transmissions after the race, after they take the checkers, is all these guys on the radio yelling how proud they are of Austin. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a real proudful move there. But to your point, Brett, getting blown out of proportion, I think there could be some penalties coming for which I don't remember a spotter penalty. Got pretty close recently, but but I don't remember a spotter penalty in the sport in a long time. No, not even a little bit.
I don't think he wants to provide any details.
Interesting. I guess we'll find out
TJ?
Tuesday.
I'm spot off for the telling to wreck him, but I don't think, like you said, you don't have as much as I wish. We don't have controls over them cars sometimes. I wish we could throttle up at times. I wish we could turn at times, but we don't. So the driver, the one that's making the decision in that instant is the driver. So
how much pressure did Brandon feel to have to win that race?
I mean, same as Austin. The whole team has the same pressure.
Yeah, I think it's all the same.
It's that's your only chance to make the playoffs.
So should being allowed to be inside the huddle as a sanctioning body and as a fan base, should it cost you money and cost you potential suspensions? Because in no other sport would you know that they said, hey, on this play right here, when this guy goes up for a layup, you undercut him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the nature of the beast. It's not, that they're listening. You know what you say is being heard.
But you don't know they're listening at that moment in time because that's the last thing.
But you can go back and you can pull audio from everywhere.
I mean, we know that. But in that moment in time, when it's happening in real time, and you say, wreck him. Have you ever said wreck him?
Never.
Have you ever insinuated you should retaliate?
Yes.
Have you ever said wreck him? Have you ever insinuated you should retaliate?
I mean, I think you race how you're raced.
In your thousands of races that you've done.
I think you tell people you race how you're
I've
raced.
100% told Ellie Saller to wreck somebody. I'd wreck that mother.
Yeah, I probably said I've said like I've had enough of this guy, or like I don't think I've ever outright said wreck this guy, wreck him.
I've had the crew chief on the other channel tell me to tell the driver to wreck him. Because you get fed up, right? You know what you have to accomplish. And again, I'm going to say it and I'm going to hush, but this could easily get blown way out of proportion.
I spotted for Tommy Baldwin for a season. How many times do you think he told me to wreck somebody?
Every
Oh
time.
my gosh. So what you're saying is, what I'm taking from this conversation is we now need to have code words for wrecking people.
Yes.
Give him the pizza.
Strawberries.
Watermelon. Wait a minute. What's that what's that guy in that video? My safe word's pineapple.
You know what? No matter what happens here, this is going to go down as a dirty move. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty
No
obvious.
matter what happens here, he's going to make the playoff and he's going to keep the win. His sponsor's happy. His owner's happy. His mom and dad. This is maybe the first moment I've ever seen him drive like his dad, Mike Dillon.
This might be the first time that I've ever seen second place take out first and third in 3 and 4 in the race. You know, I mean, ever.
Just think about this, though. If the caution comes out sooner, Denny wins the race and he's wrecked.
Could you? Yes, I just was hoping,
Yeah,
not hoping, but like nothing makes me feel better than you do this. You make this outlandish move into 3, and then like if he didn't hook Denny, he goes in there and wipes Joey out for absolutely no reason. Like that would have been the crowd
Dude.
would have been going nuts, cheering probably. Like or maybe
He's
not
lucky.
cheering because Denny would have won.
He's
but-
lucky he won, because if he doesn't, he looks like,
Oh,
it'd be so bad. But it's not how it worked out. So
How would it be different if, Austin, for all intents and purposes, said he was going to do what he had to do during this interview?
yeah. I mean, Denny got hammered on his podcast. He said he did something intentionally. I mean, you basically, I don't know. I didn't see his post-race interview. Did he ever say like, I wrecked him, or like just admit it, or just say I did what I had to do?
which one of them?
Austin.
Denny or
Austin.
I know, but like which guy? We got multiple.
He said he's never had a car this good before. He
What do
had
you
to
think?
maximize.
What do you think about if all this goes on and the only person that gets a penalty out of it is Logano for doing a burnout on pit road?
I mean, that's possible.
I mean, that should be a penalty. That
That
should be
was
something.
scary,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't do that. But like, could you imagine we go through all this and then the only person that gets penalized is the guy that got wiped out leading? Oh my God.
Moving on, Joey Logano called Austin Dillon's move chicken and BS after climbing out of his car and said payback is coming, while Denny Hamlin said a line was crossed tonight, but it's an invisible line. And when asked what Dillon's move at the finish warranted a penalty, NASCAR's Elton Sawyer said, "We always hear where's the line. I would say that the last lap was awful close to the line. If anything rises to a level we feel we need to penalize, we'll do that on Tuesday." TJ, spot on, spot off.
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I'm spot on. I know that I don't think that's something that you can call right then. I think you need to go back and look at it, and which we all hate.
You
But
need to go back and look at what?
everything. You got to look at what all played out right there. I mean, they're not gonna. I mean, what Cars Tour took a couple days, right?
No, they
Yeah.
made that call in the moment.
Thought they.
A couple days was the Lapsevich disqualification.
Oh, that's right. Maybe that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, you're right.
Millington
Okay.
got disqualified
Yes.
immediately.
I don't know, man. I just think
So
that's-
you don't think in today's world that you can announce this finish is under review, we are not declaring a winner yet, and then they take 5 minutes? You don't think they can make a decision? You think they need a Tuesday to do that?
I think that 5 minutes is going to seem like an hour.
You think they need 40 hours?
I don't think it shouldn't take 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
If the decision is he won, then it's
Well, no, even if it's a
That's-
penalty,
that's
it should
what I'm
be.
saying. I don't-
It should
the
go. That
leader-
was too much.
the
Penalty.
win
He
is
doesn't
the win's
win.
not changing. That's a fact.
No,
So that's a fact.
But if the
win's
win's not changing, the rest doesn't matter.
unless they hammer you with something.
unless
else.
they hurt you were in the playoffs or something, which still at that point, from his scenario,
He doesn't care.
he doesn't care.
Even if
'cause
he's
now-
just even if they just give him a 5,000 point penalty in the playoffs, he's still
dude.
gaining
But
10,
you hurt.
15
You
spots in
say
the standings.
you make it hurt in the
100%.
playoffs, but this is pretty similar. You're essentially removing somebody who should be in it
Oh, yeah.
at this point.
Well, you're not removing him from the playoff. He's still in the playoff. He's still taking up a spot.
Right,
And
he's
listen,
taking up that
listen,
spot.
Yeah, but
listen.
you can't tell the Patriots, all right, you're in the playoffs, but you start the first game minus 14 points.
Why not? They've taken playoff points before from people.
I just don't think you take playoff points that don't exist yet.
Well, first of all, they rarely penalize the
okay, if you
Patriots.
take his playoff points for the win.
No, I'm saying, but they penalized guys playoff points for
All the time.
infractions.
I'm saying if you get the win, you playoff eligible, you lose your playoff points. So now you're minus 5
No.
points.
They've
No,
taken
they gotta give 'em-
taken 10 or like I think it was Byron got up like when they had them penalty. I swear to God, when they had them penalties like tech penalties,
Yeah.
they lost 10 playoff points. Wait, so you
Well,
start playoffs and you lost 10 points.
they got him back.
Oh, maybe they got him back.
They
but
got
they still
him back.
They still penalized them.
They
Was that the
fine-
Louvers?
Yeah, they give them all their points and wins and all that back, but they fined them a big amount of
Yeah.
money.
I don't know. So
So that's definitely not. It's not not an ideal scenario.
I think the biggest thing for me, and Joey, I get it. Joey has every right to be pissed off, chicken, call, whatever. Same way William Byron had every right to be pissed off at Joey when Joey punted him through the fence a couple years ago at Darlington. So, like, it is what it is. That was kind of a similar move. But
similar, very, 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 very similar.
Denny's comments kind of hit home with me a little bit more because, and I didn't see all of Denny's comments. I saw like the one that I picked up on was talking about. I mean, we're supposed to be the standard setter. You know, like we're supposed to be the highest form of also auto racing in the country at least, and what message does this send to the kids that are watching at home? You know, the young kids coming up, go-karts, whatever it is, the short tracks. The short tracks are doing a better job of policing this than we are on TV. And you're watching this race at home as a 15-year-old kid that's running a late model at some local racetrack, and you see Austin Dillon just go in there and play a video game and wreck the leader, and then when the other guy passes him, wreck him too. I mean, you would do that on a video game to try and racing your buddies and laugh about it. We see it every week. Some video from iRacing with guys doing this. So it just sets a horrible example for the guys that we're supposed to be the ones that set the standard. We're supposed to be the ones everybody looks up to do it the right way. And we're not. Like it's a free for all right now. It's lawlessness. That nobody and I get it. This is what we've painted. This is what we've made this sport to be. This is what they want.
iRacing actually suspends you. Yeah, they'll actually suspend you.
But the problem is, if this is what we want, then we might as well open it up down there too and let everybody why is this not a win at Riverhead Raceway, but it's a win at Richmond?
Because they don't have the budgets these guys have, and they don't have the safety standards that these guys have. Like I said earlier in the show, if you're going to be mad at somebody,
1,000% right.
You got to be mad at NASCAR because that's the tone they've set. Here was my favorite part of Joey Logano's quote. He talked about getting wrecked, and then he had the opportunity to defend, and then he went up there and he even wrecked Denny. Okay, well, you wrecked Denny at California and broke his back. So I don't think you got that much sympathy for Denny. Yeah, y'all act like y'all like each other. Y'all don't like each other.
Yeah, they were just using each other for examples at that
100%.
point. Which I don't think Denny ever said anything about Joey.
Denny made a lot of really bad points. He's like, there's a line, and it's invisible. Whoa, wow.
Well, there's no line. There is no line. How can you say there's a line? They don't penalize anybody except for poor late race.
That's not really true. We got penalized for a line.
Elton said there's a line.
I know, but my point is, when you say it's awfully close to the line, what else do you have to do? What more can you do than what he did right there? Honestly.
Well, Bubba did to Chase. I meant to Larson. And what Chase did to...
He did that. He did it to Danny. He did the same thing. He just didn't have an extra racetrack to go up and hit the wall head on. It was a shorter track. It was a smaller track.
So do you think he keeps a win and gets suspended a race?
I think if you're going to be consistent, I don't think they will. Because what they're going to say is Bubba and Chase did it retaliatory, and that was heat of the moment racing. That's the only thing they can say that makes it any different. But if you're going to be consistent, I think a right hook is a right hook, no matter what time. That's the worst thing you can do in the sport. I said it when Bubba did it. I said it when Chase did it. You know, that's the worst thing you can do.
His intent was to stop Denny from getting by him.
By any means necessary.
His intent was to make contact.
Yes.
Same thing with the other guys. The intent's the same. You're trying to hit the other guy's car. Whether you're trying to wreck him or stop him, you're still trying to hit the other guy's car. The result is the same.
If you're not suspending them because they retaliate, you're suspending them because it's dangerous and somebody can get hurt. Well, there's no difference than if it's retaliatory or if it's in the heat of the moment. Somebody can still get hurt, and you got to take that out of the sport, and you got to do whatever you can to do that.
What if Denny gets hurt in that wreck right there?
He might be hurt. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. What if he gets hurt? Now?
There's going to be penalties. There has to be penalties. I don't know what they are, but something has to happen. You can't just go, boys have at it. Like I don't think you could. This is not one of them situations. If he went in there and just dumped the 22, I'm good with it. But when you hook somebody in the fence like that, at an angle like that, which we've seen so many people get hurt in the sport doing, that's the line. I think that should be the line. That's where the line gets crossed. And if that's not it, then I don't know where the line is. I don't know what you can do.
I'm not sure
that's the best comment of the whole weekend. The line is invisible. That's the problem.
I don't know. I kind of like the line about the soft. We should run the reds everywhere, the soft tires everywhere.
The discretionary part here is the problem. It has to be written stating if you take this action and we deem it unsafe to another competitor and it appears to be intentional, on our behalf, we are taking action. And if you don't have that kind of language, I said during the show, there's no rule against it.
No.
This is just like Indy, discretionary.
It's totally discretionary. It's no different than the road course race where track limits were enforced one lap and not the next. Same thing. And it's hard. I get it. I get how hard it is. But when you have this invisible line, you're making it harder on yourself.
Spot off. The Talladega race is moving to the semifinal round of the NASCAR playoffs. TJ.
Kevin Harvick pushed for this?
Yeah. It's the second to last race.
What round was it when he calls that big wreck?
I think the same where it's at now, the second race of
I
round
think
two.
it was, yeah.
Wrecked my
Might have
guy,
been.
Trevor Bain.
No, it was the not.
Should
I
that
think
have been
Oh,
a
no, it was a cutoff race.
Yeah, it was the
Cutoff
last
Cutoff
race.
It was
'cause
cutoff
that was,
race, yeah.
You think that was intentional?
Yeah. Twice.
Should that have been a penalty to him?
Yes. The worst part is he did it once. We got a restart, and I said, Trevor, he's going to do it again. And he did it again.
Dude, he timed it perfect.
Oh.
He did a damn good job.
Trevor
Has been going on for decades.
Trevor was so mad, he said, gosh dang it.
Oh, he almost cussed. Then he probably said a quick prayer to ask for forgiveness. Anyway, back to the topic. I'm sorry.
Oh, what was the topic? Oh, Talladega.
moving.
It's I'm fine with it.
I like the fact that there's a plate race, drafting track, whatever you want to call them now, in the playoffs. I don't love that there's one that's going to decide the final four. It's just.
At least it's not a cutoff.
But I would rather it be
I would rather not be a
I'd
cutoff.
rather it be the cutoff of the second round than the second race in the third round, because look what it's done for Daytona. Everybody loves the fact that Daytona is the regular season cutoff, because you could get that surprise winner. You're going to have guys in that second round that you might have somebody that's way out of it in the point, wreck the first
Yeah,
round or
Austin
something like
Dillon.
that.
Austin
difference
Dillon's
is-
great at those
no.
tracks. Imagine if
There's
he
a
won.
big difference. Daytona, everyone's still eligible if for a win at Daytona. Like, you could be 30th, 5th in points, and you're still eligible, and you're going to go for that yourself. Whenever you get into the playoffs, as you get deeper into the playoffs, there's more guys that are knocked out, and then you got more teammates to help, and so
what's the problem?
I don't think.
It makes no difference than if your teammates are helping. If the teammates are already in, they're helping you at Daytona.
But I would rather it not be the final. Like, I feel like it not being the cutoff race is not going to be as cutthroat. It's still going to be.
Why? We want a cutthroat. As a fan sitting at home, do you want to watch Talladega be the cutoff race or the Roval?
Neither.
Well, that's my point now. Round two, the Roval was the cutoff race, and Talladega is the second to last one. I'd much rather Daytona has been a hit. Obviously, the way the schedule worked out this year, it's not the cutoff race. It's going back to the playoff regular season cutoff next year.
Yeah, because if you you can get a waiver and get in still if you win that race.
But
Here's my favorite thing about it. A lot of our popular drivers are also really good super speedway racers. And when you look at Chase Elliott's to Ryan Blaney's, Keselowski's, Bubba, great play super speedway racer, Denny. Like, a lot of our big names are good super speedway racers. In the South in the fall, the biggest thing going on is college football. And I feel like putting this game 7 moment at this point in the playoffs in the South is a good thing.
well, the problem is it's not a game. It's not.
I know,
It's
but
not a cutoff.
it's gonna feel like one.
Yeah.
It's gonna have win and you're in.
There's gonna be guys that are.
It's gonna
yeah.
be, man, a stage point's a big deal right here. It's gonna have a game 7 moment at the end of every stage in the second half of the third stage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I like it.
You like it in the last round?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was other schedule news I heard this week that I think is pretty much confirmed.
Oh no.
Rockingham is back.
Oh, not for the Cup cars though.
Not for the Cup cars.
Yeah.
Xfinity and ARCA Xfinity Truck Easter weekend. Friday, Saturday show, no Sunday. Awesome awesome for the fans that there's going to be 38 straight weeks of racing.
That is awesome.
With no breaks. Maybe not so awesome.
Which means we'll probably be at
maybe
at,
not
we'll,
so
we'll probably
awesome.
be at Rockingham.
Maybe not so awesome for the spotters.
Well, the spotters don't have a spot.
I'm not going. I don't know who I'm spotting for at Truck and Xfinity yet, but you can hear me now on Door Bumper Clear on whatever today's date is, August 12th. I will not be at Rockingham next year.
I don't blame you. Cool racetrack, though. I just hope people show up. And I mean, to that point, talking about Xfinity at Rockingham, just Connor Zilich popped up in my head. And I kind of look at that announcement as, man, Trackhouse may be the smartest Cup team right now in the garage in terms of developing talent, because you look at SVG, right? They own the rights to him. They put him in a colleague Xfinity car. He goes out, wins 3 races. They own the rights to Connor Zilich. They're going to farm him out to Junior Motorsports, where I would expect him to go out and contend to win races, especially with SVG's exit potentially in that series, right? So Trackhouse should get a shout out here because it's expensive to own an Xfinity Series team. I mean, to go out and compete, it's millions and millions of dollars. Plus, if you were going to get in that business, you'd have to do the startup cost to go with it. So
where are they going now? All those guys you mentioned?
Well, Suarez only got a 1-year deal.
All right, there's one. What about the other ones?
I don't know. They got charters. But I just think it's worth mentioning here that teams like Hendrick Motorsports are signing some of these young guys, and they're farming them out and trying to put them in good positions to get experience, but they've got their claws in them. It's been a while since we've seen that, especially with the transition of the Xfinity Series has turned completely into you have to bring money in order to get this seat. Whether y'all like it or not, it's how it is. And the more money you have, if Jeb Burton had $6 million instead of $2 million, he'd be at Gibbs instead of where he's at. So the more money you have, the better the seat you get.
Well,
and what's eventually going to happen is that same model is going to transition into Cup if we don't get these Cup owners more money coming in. Because it's a double-edged sword right here with this streaming deal and the new TV deal. Like, in order for people to sell sponsors, you have to have ratings. And in order to have ratings, our ratings are higher when they're on network versus cable, and we know that. So you're making it more and more challenging for these owners to raise money, which is why this charter agreement has to get done, and you've got to give these owners some relief, or everything that you see in the Xfinity Series right now, 12, 15 years from now, is going to be the same way in Cup. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, Brett, you being in the sponsorship world, how are you trying to sell sponsorship to Xfinity Series when you don't know what the ratings will be?
It's hard. You have to look at a lot of different elements. I mean, obviously, you're getting an ambassador for your brand. You're looking at engagement on social media. You're looking at activation at the track. There's a lot of different tools that you have to put into the bucket to make it have value. But the costs are too damn high in the Xfinity Series. And the reality is the driver has to have money with him now. And most of the time, it's not sponsorship money. It's family money. That's not good.
The thing that I find interesting going through some of the rumors we've been hearing, it's essentially, I won't name the teams, but one of the major Xfinity teams, it costs the same to run that car for a year as it does to run a fairly competitive Cup car at a fairly competitive Cup team for a year. Like, it's not, maybe it's not a winning Cup car recently, but you know, it's the same price. Like, how can that be?
Well, more driver swap news. Over the summer break, Spire Motorsports announced Corey LaJoie would not be returning to the number 7 next season. Freddie.
Yeah, spot off for Corey, unfortunately. He's been talking about TJ for about 3 months. Maybe there's just a little bit of karma coming back to him. But
The voodoo doll, I guess.
I think this was a situation where I seen Brett's or somebody tweeted something about musical chairs. There was 3 drivers in the mix and 2 seats. And I think that Corey didn't do himself any favors the last month or so, just performance-wise, and kind of, I mean, he had some issues in qualifying a couple weeks in a row, clipping the wall. And I think that maybe one of the other guys that was potentially on the chopping block went out and won a race. So that all of a sudden kind of upset the apple cart a little bit. And, you know, I think you hear Justin Haley's name mentioned a lot around this. And, that's probably a likely candidate to replace him, but I don't think it's for certain that he's getting in that car.
Brett.
Man, I thought Jeff Dickerson's quote about, a few years ago, we didn't even have cars. And then our biggest goal after we got cars was just to get to the racetrack. And then our goal was to, go out and run the laps. And now our goal is to be more competitive and win races. And nothing against Corey LaJoie here, but this couldn't have come at a worse time for his career. Like, I think the timing for him is just absolutely awful. But nothing against Corey, but I don't think he's ever won a race in a NASCAR touring division.
ARCA and K&N, but
I don't consider that, a NASCAR top series. When I look at that, I look at the top 3 touring series. Yeah. And you got to win, man. I mean, there's a lot of drivers right now that they've got to win. Austin Dillon felt like he had to win. And Corey's been in a position to win races, and I think there's some tracks that he does a good job. And I've heard he's knocked on some cup doors, and the numbers they've thrown out that they need funding is a lot more than what he has. So hopefully he gets in a position where he can win races. I mean, I even heard one rumor that he was talking to Junior Motorsports. If he goes there, I think he can win, and you got to win races. And if you can't win races, you're not going to have a chance to stay in the Cup Series.
Let me ask you this. I think his two best options through the rumor mill is the 51 at Rick Ware, or maybe potentially full-time in the 19 truck because Eckes is out. What would you advise? I mean, I in my opinion, like to your point, I think if you get in the 51 car, it's just a continuation of what you've been doing. You're just hoping to run well.
Yeah.
Where if you get in that 19 truck, you can win damn near every race.
How old is Corey?
I would say probably 30. If I had internet, I'd look it up.
So would you rather make $1 million or would you rather make $200,000?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Would you rather have a chance to win, or would you hope that on your very best day you run top 10?
Do you bet on yourself like John Hunter? Like if you can make $1 million, do you go down and make 200,000 and win races in hopes of getting? John Hunter's at front row, goes down there, dominates the Truck Series for a little. Now I don't think he ever won a championship, but he won a bunch of races.
Yeah.
And then got the opportunity with Toyota to get in the legacy car and probably make way more than he was making in front row. So that's the thing. That are you willing to bet on yourself and go down there and win? Like, because to your point, Ryan Priest talked about this some numbers. Like, you have to win. You have to win. Whatever you get in, you have to at least contend to win.
But even would that be the case for a Rick Ware car where, he's proved, like, I feel like Spire has improved since Corey's been there. Same with Justin Haley being in that car right now. He has made that team look great because they're improving. So couldn't Corey do the same if he went to Rick Ware?
This is where Spire has this is where Rick Ware Racing has a lot of pressure on them. If Justin Haley is leaving and or when Justin Haley leaves. Justin Haley has proven that you can run top 15 all race long at some racetracks. He has proven that you can go out and get top 15 finishes at some racetracks. That is light years ahead of where they were even last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were notorious for having cars that were running in the very, very back along with the B.J. McLeod entry and bringing out cautions late in the race. That's all gone away. Like, their rebrand has been extremely successful, and hats off to what Rick Ware has done, and Tommy Baldwin and Robbie Benton. I mean, everybody over there, they deserve all the credit in the world. But when you look at even like colleague racing right now, right? Colleague racing was winning Xfinity races, winning Cup races, contending to make playoffs. I mean, I remember Justin Haley, we finished third at Darlington in a colleague car, and now they've taken a step back. Like, Rick Ware cannot afford to take a step back from a driver standpoint, because if they do, everything they just accomplished is going to go out the window. But the bigger question is, what drivers are they looking at? What kind of funding's coming? I mean, it's a hard puzzle to put together.
TJ?
Yeah, I think I don't know if there's a whole lot more to say about it. Whatever Corey does, I feel like he needs to win. He's going to take a step back. He's got to win. If he's going to stay in the Cup car, whatever he gets in, he's got to be more efficient maybe as a driver. He's got to be easier on equipment. He's got to be that guy that can put the, be that rock, be that the veteran guy. Cause, and for the while there, we're at Spire, he was the guy. And,
yeah.
And he was supposed to be the guy that everybody, we need to be like Corey. He does a really good job. And, but if I'm Corey, I think if Corey went and got into a decent truck or an Xfinity car, I think he's good enough that he would win races. So I think he can do that.
We know every week, being in the industry, what expectations are realistic for every single car number. And when you go out there and you watch that 21 car run 30th, that's not the expectation. The expectation is top 18. When you see Corey LaJoie running top 20, he's meeting his expectation. The problem is Hocevar's been running top 20 all year, and him and Zane Smith ain't been relevant. I mean, Zane Smith, I said on this show halfway through the season, he better get his together, because all he's doing is wrecking and finishing last. And you cannot gain experience. You can't get faster. You can't build your notebook. You can't improve, right? So Corey went backwards for whatever reason, and I don't know why that is. But it's also, man, I told my family last night, outside of hitting a baseball in the major league, being a competitive race car driver in the NASCAR Cup Series is the hardest job in the world because you're depending upon an amazing group of people around you, from the front office at your shop all the way up to the guys that touch your race car, those guys and gals. You need to have an amazing engineer. You have to have an amazing crew chief who understands strategy, can call the race, can make your car fast. You got to have a good spotter in your ear, keeping you calm, helping you make good decisions. And, oh, by the way, you got to know what it takes to make your car go faster. Go out and execute at 200 miles an hour. There is nothing harder in all of professional sports than being a damn good NASCAR Cup Series driver. I'll die on that hill because I've lived with them. I've been buddies with them, and I know how hard it is and how much pressure it is. It's insane. Look at Bubba Wallace. The guy's crying. Next thing you know, he's like, I'm trying to have fun. And then, boom, he gets his attitude right. And look at what they've done in the points since he said him and Kevin Harvick had a long talk. Like, you can't imagine how hard this is. And I know people are like, well, you got a dream job. Yes, 1,000%. I have a dream job. So do they. That don't mean it isn't hard.
Yeah.
Agreed. When we come back from the break, we'll check in with y'all's calls on Reaction Theater.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, Reaction Theater, where it's your turn to be heard. Reaction Theater is brought to you every week by Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month.
And now for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of free service. That's right, the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life do come in twos. See consumercellular.com for promotional details. Jay, let's go to the calls.
Hell yeah, boys. Hey, I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. I'm used to being 32nd best, and now a chance at the championship. This is exactly what we needed, right? I mean, the championship's legitimate, right? It's perfect.
For one, he's not winning the championship, but he does have a shot at it. I don't think they're going to put the 0-16 Panthers in the playoffs or 0-18, whatever. How many games they play now?
I don't think anybody in the playoffs right now will let him win.
I think that there is a lot of happy people in the playoffs that Austin Dillon won that race last night. That's one less guy that they have to worry about, in my opinion.
I agree with you in terms of speed, but I mean TJ talks about here all the time, peaking at the right time. And man, they might be peaking right
Maybe
here.
they are. It's too early. Still 3 weeks left.
What's going on, you peckerheads? This is Boat. I just want to say I absolutely loved every second of it. I don't care what Logano says. He whines every time he gets dumped. I'm not a fan of Hamlin. Absolutely loved the finish. The race was all right, but it's good to see old Hamlin get dumped and Logano.
The only thing I guess I've got to say is Coca-Cola Racing family sure is dysfunctional. Holy shit, them boys need some family counseling or something.
I was thinking about that, and what made me think about it is Chase was running a Coca-Cola scheme, which you don't see happen a lot within the family of drivers. But when Joey was MFing him, and I was like, they're in the Coke family together. This photo shoot next year, preseason, should go well.
Gloom, despair, and agony on me. If it weren't for bad luck, Joey and Denny would have no luck at all. So, gloom, despair, and agony on me. Love seeing the three back in victory lane. Love, love, love. Cry baby Denny, Freddie, take it. Cry baby Denny got wrecked. Joey, that's his hard track racing. He got knocked around. Man, y'all quit y'all's crying. It's short track racing. Somebody's going to wreck somebody. Austin comes in and does it. Well, good for him. Good for them knocking the Toyotas out. Love it, love it, love it.
You want to talk about the I Don't Give a tour? Austin Dillon is on the I Don't Give a tour, wrecking Joey and Denny for the win to get into the playoffs. Talk about a don't give a
That was the
holy
President.
the Hail Melon. That was like the Hail grandson. Like, I don't know what the hell you call that.
What do you even call that,
Like,
man?
that was,
I mean,
I love how they outlawed the Hail Melon immediately, but this is okay. We'll just let this ride.
What a joke. Now I know why I don't watch NASCAR anymore, because this is all it is. Let's just drive over somebody and wreck them because we need to get into the playoffs. Or win to get in. A joke. There was no talent there whatsoever. It's just, who can we kill to get the win?
this. May the sting of 1,000 fire ants descend upon Austin Dillon's crotch for making me agree and feel bad for Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin.
Are those piss ants?
Yeah, those piss ants.
Bite the piss out of you. Yeah. Whew. Was that Tim's? Have we heard from Tim's? Is Tim's okay? Has anybody done a wellness check on Tim's this morning? All right, just check.
What happens?
Tim's lost a bet. He had Denny Hamlin to win for like plus 600 or something like that. So he's got. Did you see his video? He's got a live reaction. He's watching the race and he's like, "Damn!" Like he's hoping. He's seeing this play out, and he's like, "Man, if hopefully Dillon gets into him and knocks him out of the way, and then he's got a shot." So then they're coming down the backstretch, and he's like,
he went.
He's like, "Damn, he's not close enough. He's not." Oh, he hit him! Yeah. And then he hooks me like, "You."
What do you think happens real quick here if the roles are reversed?
What do you mean? Like if Denny did that?
No, yeah. What if something happens to the 3 when he's leading a race from
pop going out and punch somebody
7 car lengths back?
I mean, you made a valid point earlier in the show. I don't think a lot of guys will make the move Austin did because I don't think there's a lot of guys that are that desperate. But I think he's that desperate. And I don't blame him. I mean, it's pressure.
Yeah.
I mean,
but do you think they handle it as well as, not saying that it was handled very well, but like, do you think, they get out like Denny and no, I don't think that happens. I think there's a lot of watch holding and everything going on.
I mean, they threw a sledgehammer at Kevin Harvick one time, didn't they? Like on pit road in a truck race.
I think
remember when he wrecked Ty?
Yeah.
I mean, I will say.
Welcome to North Carolina. Redneck knows what to do.
I will say, of all the sports, this is the one sport that will get immediate reactions from drivers like Joey Logano and Denny right when they get out of the car.
I mean, if I'm leading the race and you wreck me, I'm probably going to get a reaction now.
Because, other sports, you were going to get PR, drilled.
I mean, if Dale Jr. touches me in iRacing, I send him down pit road. I mean, like Lauren Wallace. Story ends the same way.
Absolute disgrace of a finish. Austin Dillon would have had his first legitimate win in the Cup Series, but then he has to go and pull some of the biggest chicken I've seen in years. Good Lord. And he should be suspended for right-rearing Denny Hamlin into the wall. And you heard Denny Hamlin say he popped his shoulder out. So that's a suspension in my book for both this win.
I don't disagree with you about suspension, but I don't think it has any precedent to revoke any wins. I just don't see him doing that. I think there's Elton wouldn't rule it out last night, but I mean, there's a less than 1% chance I think that they take the win away. But I mean, and to his point, I'd have to go back and look at all of them, but Austin's wins, when he says first legitimate win, you think about the Daytona 500, he kind of turns Almirola.
The second Daytona, he doesn't kind of turn him.
The second Daytona win was when he had Reddick back there. Everybody wrecked, and he had Reddick back there blocking for him. There was only 10 cars left in the race, and the whole top 5 was Landon Castle and BJ and all them guys. Charlotte was a fuel mileage race, right?
He wasn't running good, and they got off sequence and just timed it out.
So I mean, credit. Every win's a great win, but this was going to be probably the best night of his career and turned into maybe the worst night of his career.
The part that bothers me the most about it is it still could have been.
Yeah.
He had the opportunity to nail that restart, get the lead, and I honestly don't think Joey messes with him. I don't think Joey messes with him.
I saw the racing analytics guy that always tweets stuff about restarts, and he had tweeted something during the race that nobody has lost more positions on restarts this year than Austin Dillon.
Yeah, I don't. With Joey already having a win, if they're side by side, maybe they bump doors. But I don't. Joey's smart enough to know that in Austin's position, that if he messes with him bad, Austin's probably going to make his playoffs really bad.
And Joey said it, I think in his post race was I didn't even. It's not like I backed up my entry. Playing it safe. He's like, I drove in there knowing, he's probably he's going to try to get to my bumper.
Yeah. But Austin had a chance to do it legit.
Well, those are some great calls. Don't forget, 704-802-9572 is our number. Leave us a message anytime.
Consumer Cellular is the official wireless partner of Brad Keselowski, RFK Racing, and the 6 Car. If they can count on Consumer Cellular, you can too.
Brad Keselowski and RFK Racing know speed, and that's just what you get with Consumer Cellular.
Have you seen Brad's Consumer Cellular convertible? A symbol of savings, you might say. That thing is awesome.
Consumer Cellular has award-winning 100% U.S.-based customer service center, so you can always get the help you need. It's like having your pit crew right there when you need them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month.
There are no activation fees and no contracts. Consumer Cellular customers stay because they want to, not because they have to. They don't need to trap their customers.
You can even try Consumer Cellular for 30 days risk-free. If you don't love it, cancel it, but they bet you'll love it. And now, for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. See ConsumerCellular.com for promotional details.
Moving on to Ask DBC. This first question is from Matt. Does the finish at Richmond make NASCAR reevaluate their win and in system for the playoffs? Brett.
I wasn't listening. I was looking at my DBC pick. What'd you say?
Freddie. Matt wants to know, does the finish at Richmond make NASCAR reevaluate their win and in system for the playoffs?
Nope.
No, this
This
actually
is exactly what they want.
this is exactly why it was made.
Yeah. Nope.
Because if we didn't have that system, everyone's going to point race every race, and you're just going to there's no
difference.
There's no
urgency. There's no
that.
guys putting different tires on last night at different times.
What about the having to be top 30 in points?
I mean, it would come in handy right now for them, but I don't know. It's just it is what it is.
We're not changing rules because
No.
somebody went very aggressive.
Went
to win.
haywire.
Yeah.
No.
This next one is from Gary. Knowing that Retribution is coming, how should Austin Dillon prepare for the payback Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano are planning for?
How do we?
I don't know
what's
that they
going on.
are.
They're not. They're not going to do anything. I mean, you're not going to get into a pissing match with Austin Dillon because he can hurt you a hell of a lot more than you can hurt him. You know, he's going to. If they continue to run like they've run all year, he's going to be a first round elimination. So you don't. You're not going to have to. You don't have to. Now, if they come to a point where they're battling for the final four or the final eight and they're racing each other for points, yeah, maybe you see them do something. But you're not going to start a war with a guy that you don't plan on racing the rest of the year.
These two guys are way smarter than that.
Terry wants to know.
Terry,
back up,
Terry.
If you're surprised Connor Zilich got the call up to run the 88 for JRM and Xfinity and bypass racing full-time in trucks.
No.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't think bypassing the trucks is a bad thing.
Yeah, I was trying to get him to say that on the show last week or a couple weeks ago, whatever that was, because I knew this was coming. This is the place. If you're a talented young race car driver, you're going to be able to show that off more in the Xfinity series than you are the truck series, 1,000%. So this is if you're. We've talked about on here, Brett. TJ. We both talked about. The truck series right now might prepare you a little bit better for how the racing is in the Cup Series. But to get to the Cup Series,
if you're good, you're going to figure it out.
If you got to get to get to the Cup Series, you got to show that you're talented, and the place where you're going to show your talent more is the Xfinity Series.
The racing is more about the driver. I feel like in the Xfinity cars, it separates the drivers more. And if you can drive, you can separate yourself in that group more. Other than trucks where it's a wide open, you rip each other's doors off in turn one and see where you end up.
There's going to be a lot of new names next year and really fast cars in the Xfinity Series.
It's good.
That Xfinity Series, you talk about musical chairs. I mean, there's the whole JGR full-time driver lineup's out, right? I mean, I don't, there's a whole new lineup coming in over there.
Yeah.
Half their GM's going to be different. Then guys are going, you hear Creed's name tied to the Haas team a lot now. The Gray kid, probably JGR, Swalwich kid probably moving over there. Maybe somebody going back over there that used to be over there.
Yeah. What do you mean? Close proximity?
Yeah. That Eckes, we've heard Eckes rumors to colleague this week. I heard Sanchez is going Xfinity Racing. I don't know where that is. Which all that tells me is Corey Haim's going to win about 18 truck races next year.
No kidding. It might be the Corey Haim truck series.
It's going to be Corey Haim versus Majeski and Grant, essentially, at this point, it seems like. But Yeah, so there's a lot of going on in that Xfinity series.
A lot.
But it's all, honestly, though, we are going to have a group of young, talented drivers racing against each other, and that's what it's there for. And I think we're all gonna win from that as far as like the product they put on.
I think the Xfinity series, like the playoffs, is it, like because you see good guys miss the playoffs there. You know, what's the cut line right now? I know it's Brandon Jones is around there, Sieg's around there.
Yeah,
it's close.
It's close. You know, and those are good. Those are guys that run up front weekly. Yeah. You know, that's what that series. That's what the cut line should be. There should be guys missing it that shouldn't miss it. You know, I don't knock on wood. I'm not talking ourselves right now in the playoffs here, but you know, that's what I like their model a lot better than ours.
Idiots of the week.
I thought I was gonna have to give it to Reddick again. I thought Reddick finished second to another first-time winner this year, and I was gonna have to find him and kill him. But luckily for him, the caution came out with he was still in third, so he's off the hook slightly for this one. I wanted to give it to RC for trying to cover up the fact that they said wreck him on the radio, not knowing this is 2024 and we can go pull that stuff live, and then saying that somebody hacked in there and edited the audio post race. But I had to give it to my old buddy Tommy Neal from Bowman Gray Stadium. Elliott Sadler asked me to bring this up again because we were going back and forth on Facebook about it the other day. It's just, you know, this guy, there's a great point race going on between Zach Orr and Chase Robertson. Shout out Mike Robertson, a good buddy of mine. They're like a couple points apart. They race around each other, all race wrong. And this guy's out there. I don't know what the hell he's getting black flag for, but he stops on the racetrack, brings out a yellow. Then he does it again. Then he parks his car in the front. He's running into the pace car under yellow. Then he parks his car in the front stretch, gets out. He's flipping off the tower, trying to fight the crowd. Like, get the off the racetrack.
Why do they let that guy race there?
I don't know. He's a and the thing is that kills me. He's an unbelievable race car. He's like the legend, one of the legends of Bowman Gray. He's a 5-time champion, a legend of the sport there. And you just, I can understand if some dumb young kid is doing this, like throw him out. But like this is a guy that's a veteran of I mean, I don't know how old he is. He's older, a multi-time champion, and you just look like a. He was the one that took the most exception earlier in the year when I said they were a bunch of clowns when I was going at it with Dillner on the Reloaded show. And he's the biggest clown of them all. So I guess maybe it hurt his feelings because he knows he's the guilty party. But like it's just idiotic as always. And I shouldn't say as always because they've been way better this year. You haven't seen a lot of viral clips from Bowman Gray. And what I will say this, and I said it on Facebook, he was riding around the bottom. I don't know if he was getting ready to pay somebody back or what he was riding around slow on the bottom. What they did was they threw the yellow and threw him off the racetrack before, because in years past, they would have just let him ride around there until somebody caught him, whoever he wanted to wreck. He would have wrecked him. Then it would have been a fight. There would be cops out there. They threw the yellow and threw him off the racetrack before it got to that point. So credit to the officials for that at least.
Damn, so that's what NASCAR should have done.
Weird.
Throwing the yellow down the back.
Down the back stretch. Put it out. We know what's getting ready to happen here.
The biggest idiot of the weekend is not even up for debate. It's whoever calls the wreck in front of the leader with 2 laps to go, whether it's Stenhouse or whether it's Priest, whoever's the most at fault, because I think they both played a role in it. They're both idiots.
I'm not calling him an idiot if he did it on purpose.
I'm still calling him an idiot.
If he did that on purpose, I'm not calling him an idiot.
What are you calling him?
Big. That's smart.
What if it worked out for him, dude? He's waking up today like, look like Kermit drinking his tea, man. Yep.
What? I can't remember. I have to go back and look because RC said some about Ricky, right? Like after that too, like that he'd kick his ass, or I don't remember. Like I remember there was something. Richard said something about Ricky.
He better not tear up my race cars. Yeah. Was essentially what he said. Yeah.
But
TJ.
I was gonna go with that one. Same as Brett. I didn't watch much racing or watch anything on social much this weekend. A lot of it was Olympic still, and I'm disappointed that I didn't see you in the breakdancing competition.
Dude,
you should move to Australia.
I'm gonna claim to be a female and just go wallow around on the floor.
If you go to Australia, because
That's
you could be the Australian champion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Can you show me? You know what you do right over here.
You could beat them, I think.
I agree.
The one thing that was impressed me, I think you should try, because I know how much you love moonwalking.
Yeah.
Did you see them girls moonwalking underwater?
Synchronized swimming.
You should try that.
I can't do that.
I think half of us are
I'm
hoping
really
you drown.
disappointed.
I'm already swallowing water just
You're
thinking
not
about it.
going to use. You have an Australian accent. Why do you use it right
mate. Let's go down under, mate.
Oh, my God.
All right. DBC Picks.
Suarez.
What?
Are you first?
Me first.
Suarez.
Where are we even going?
Congrats
Michigan?
on winning, Casey.
Thank you.
With 14th, Josh Berry.
Yeah, thanks. I'll take it. Freddie, you're next. You took.
I will take Cindric.
Oh,
Works out for you like it did for me.
oh man, I'm just gonna swing for the fence here, man. I'll just take Hostvar.
Casey, who you got left? What are you doing? Defending winner.
I can't remember who I picked because I had Cindric first.
We're most likely not going to see you next week, right?
I hope not.
I don't see how it's possible.
Same.
I don't know either. Like you're pregnant as right now.
You look like me.
Do you need to know who you have, Casey? Because I can just read off names.
No, I need to know who I was gonna pick. Okay, fine. I'll just take John Hunter.
All right.
John Hunter.
We're not the bottom of the barrel, but we're in the middle of the barrel.
Close.
We're hoping for like 18th right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting rough here, man.
It's bad. Michigan's a cool place, fun racetrack. Hopefully it widens out for y'all. I'll be watching on TV. I'm actually off to Fresno, California as soon as we're done here to go to meet the almond man, a big almond farmer out there in Fresno.
The Almond Brothers?
The
Almond man. No, almond brothers. Are they got to be 112 by now.
I think one of them just passed away. Maybe.
Oh, rest in peace. Godspeed.
Casey, tomorrow.
What?
Freddie's birthday is when you're going to have the baby.
Tomorrow.
That will
it's
work
Freddie's-
with Chad's schedule.
And then it's Frederica.
It's Freddie's birthday week.
It is.
yes. Happy birthday,
Thank you.
Freddie.
Brett's going to California. Doug lives in Charlotte. We're about to hang out with Megan this week.
She'll be happy.
She'll be happy. I think we're going to go. I'm not saying where we're going because people might.
Wait a minute.
TJ might show up.
Is your birthday the same as?
1 day off.
Oh,
So Herm's having a party on my
Yeah.
birthday, and I'm having a party on Herm's
And I'm
birthday.
out of town on Herm's birthday. They invited me to
all right, you're not as old as Herm though.
No.
Herm.
Herm's big number this year.
Is it?
Damn.
Where are you at?
100?
You got to be close. Halfway.
Halfway. Yeah.
I'm close.
Are you next year?
Next year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're not quite as gray as Herm is.
No.
No, mine turned loose. His hair turns gray, my hair turns loose. But anyway, thank y'all for listening. Fun show. If you're
Entertaining.
butthurt, I don't care. Just like Austin Dillon don't care. I don't either.
Yeah. Well, unless they kick him out of the sport tomorrow, he don't give a shit
Like
about
they said,
anybody.
we got a new train driver of the tour.
Don't give a tour is
It's
rolling on.
back on the race.
Yep.
We out. Holla.
Have a great week.